Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am John Browne and this is Fact Files number 3. So these questions have all been asked on my Instagram, so if you want to ask me any question that you want, make sure you follow me on Instagram. And a few days before I do these videos, I'm going to ask in an Insta story for you to send me some questions to do for this. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pick 10 from the questions that I got asked, and if your question doesn't come up this week, then it might come up in the next episode of Fact Files. So anyway, question number 1. How do you write album concepts? And generally it's with Gnosis, it was just about how trapped I felt. With Amanuensis, it was just reading some cool stories about the samsara cycle and the entire religion about Buddhism and stuff like that. And then with Phronesis, that wasn't actually me, that was a blank slate, but Katsi was about life. So that was kind of just throwing everything in that I kind of wanted to get off my chest. And then Yet Sahara, I've wanted to write about the 7 sins for so long after seeing the film 7 years ago. I just thought I'd make a cool concept for an album. So that's kind of where they came from. But when it comes to writing something, I normally delve into the rabbit hole that is Wikipedia or something and just try and find a way to describe what I'm thinking. Like the hardest one for me to find was actually the word doxa, because I wasn't too sure if that word was even going to exist. And it was basically trying to find a way to explain belief through common opinion in a singular word or 2 words. And luckily the Greeks had already thought about it. So there you go. Anyway, question number 2. Let's see what we've got here. Best advice for learning to write songs. Trust yourself, man. Like that's kind of half the battle, isn't it? Not hating everything that you write. Like if you don't think it's amazing when you finish it, then you probably can't expect anyone else to. So just if you think this song sucks, then just push it away. Work on something else, and then maybe in a year's time, 2 years' time, you'll come back to that song and think, I can do this, this, and this to it, and it's going to make it amazing. And the perfect example of that is the final riff of Either Destroyer. That riff was written in the Gnosis sessions, and that riff was originally in Empty Vessels Make the Most Noise, but I could never get that riff to work properly. So I remembered about that riff when I came to writing album 2, and then it worked really well in Either Destroyer, and it sounds great. So yeah, trust yourself and just don't get bogged down if you think that it sucks, because it's probably just that moment that makes you think it sucks. So, okay, so question number 3. What games have you been playing lately? Well, there's only really one game that I play, and it's Rocket League. I mean, I've got my Nintendo Switch. My girlfriend bought me South Park, The Fractured But Whole, but there's a really severe bug in that game, which means that you can't advance past a certain point, and I've not bothered to restart the game yet to see if maybe I just need to like refresh it, do it again. But that game was pretty sick, actually. I really was enjoying that. I've played obviously Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, but generally the one that I play on a daily basis is Rocket League. I just can't stop playing that fucking game. Okay, question number 3. I would like to see videos that react to the fans' YouTube cover like John Petrucci. That'd actually be quite fun to do, actually. I might actually do that. So watch out on my YouTube channel and you might just get what you asked for. Okay, yeah, question number 4. If you could fill in on rhythm for any band ever, who would it be? It's a really difficult question. I mean, obviously Metallica and Meshuggah are right up there. Meshuggah would probably kill me because the rhythms are ridiculously difficult. Imagine trying to memorize 90 minutes of Meshuggah. Like, just think about that. It sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? Metallica, obviously, although in recent years, probably not as much. I would like to fill in on rhythm for them in '89 when they played in Seattle. Other bands, I think that Slipknot would be very, very cool, you know, to play rhythm for those guys. System of a Down would be sick. You know, just something bouncy and cool Nothing too overly complicated, maybe, so I didn't have to stress myself out. I don't know what question it's on. The next question. Do you have any plans to come to Japan? Unfortunately, not yet. Really want to obviously play there. I was there in 2015 doing some videos. So I got to experience a little bit of Tokyo, saw a bit of Mount Fiji, and it was great. I've actually been to Tower Records in Tokyo, and it was great. I also had the best Mexican food I've ever eaten in Japan, in Tokyo, in Shibuya. And Shibuya Meltdown, witnessing that firsthand is insane. So yeah, I would really like to come to Tokyo, come to Japan to play some shows, and obviously go on holiday. So next question. Hello from Ontario, Canada. What are some of your other passions outside of music? And I rarely really get time to do any other passions, but one thing that I'm really, really interested in is actually woodworking and building furniture. I know that sounds kind of old manish, but for example, when I was in school, I built a guitar for my GCSE resistant materials project, which I actually found a picture of recently. It's still on the website that I sent it to because I used a book by a guy called Martin Koch to build it, and it was lent to me by my friend from school, Paul Lowe. And yeah, I just find working with wood quite fun. Now you can take that one of two ways. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I just find it quite fun, even though I get very impatient and then try to rush it towards the end, a la panels here that are wonky, but I still find it fun. So that's something that I wish I had more time for, to sort of build up all the tools to do that again. Build a guitar, build a desk, build a rack system, maybe even build my own bed, because let's be honest, every bed you can buy is shit. So next question is, do you have any plans to play six-string songs in the future? And if you do, would you use a capo? I'm going to answer the first part of that question. So obviously there's there's two songs on the record and one that didn't make it, of the Monuments Phronesis album. Vanta and The Watch are both on six strings, and I'm pretty sure that at some point we will play those songs live. So next question, what equipment would you recommend for a beginner home studio setup? And you just want to, if you're just going to be beginning, like pick up a lower version of Cubase or even Reaper, an interface, something like a Zoom UAC2 or something like that, because it's fairly cheap and it's really stable. Probably some Yamaha HS series monitor, or the MSPs, and then one thing you must get is Sonarworks. Like, I put Sonarworks in the studio and everything's been translating a lot better. It basically EQs your speakers to your room, so then it's a lot less guesswork at that point. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the course of the last few videos, because I've been using it, I feel like the guitar tones and the mixes in general have just gotten a lot better. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. So next question is, any chance of coming to the United States? And the question is, yes, we will. At some point. Can't tell you when. Next question, do you still use the Hilux for recording? And yes, actually, I've just filmed a video using the Hilux with my new tone pack that you can now get on fluxconduct.co.uk, which will showcase those sounds. So listen out in the next week or so and you'll be able to hear those tones. So next question, progression / melody you're most proud of. One of my favorite progressions that is now in AWOL, the second to last riff post second chorus. It was originally in a song called Sidonia, which I used for my guitar pack that was used on 8Dio. 8Dio is a sample library company, and I've noticed that some of my samples for that have been appearing kind of everywhere. So it's in the Overwatch game, it's in White Rabbit Project and a bunch of other places as well. But yeah, my favorite progression was the chorus of Sidonia, which ended up being the post-chorus of AWOL. And it's a cool chord progression, kind of doesn't make any sense. So it uses the major and minor seventh, and the major and minor third as well, I think. So yeah, it's a bit all over the place. Okay, next question is, does tone wood make that big of a difference in the tone? Yeah, I think it does. Now, so if you take, for example, a pickup is a type of microphone. That's pretty much what it is. So let's just think about a microphone for a second, and the sound of a microphone will change dramatically depending on the environment that it is in. So if you put, let's just take a condenser microphone, you put it in a small room, it's going to sound small. If you put it in a big room, you're going to get a lot more of the echo because of the size of the room and what it picks up. And I think that the same thing happens to guitar pickups on a different sort of scale. So if you put it in a mahogany guitar, the way that the sound waves rattle around that piece of wood is going to be different than a piece of ash, for example. Obviously, depending on the pickup, what the pickup is doing, but like say if it's higher output or active or something like that, that could probably mean the tone wood is probably a little bit less, but I think it actually makes a bigger difference than people are willing to admit. Like for example, when I play a mahogany guitar, I find that the low B string is a little bit too muddy in the low mids, whereas when I play a 7-string with an ash body, it's really crisp, there isn't too many low mids, and that's why I like ash body guitars. So next question, hey John, I'm a big fan. What are all the bands that you've played in? So the ones that I'm actually in are obviously Monuments, Fell Silent, Flux Conduct has played one live show, I guess that counts. And the ones before Fell Silent don't really count because they were just kind of, didn't really go anywhere or do anything. But I've also filled in for a bunch of bands. So I filled in for a band called Vimic on bass. Vimic is Joey Jordison's band. So it was kind of strange playing on stage with the drummer of what was one of my favorite bands. I've also played with Periphery. That was in 2011. I did what, 7-8 weeks with them. Maybe even longer actually. Maybe 7 to 8 weeks in the US and then 2 weeks in Europe. Who else have I played with? Oh yeah, I had a function band for a couple of minutes. Had to play some covers. Played Blink-182. So this is the last question. What can a band do to stand out and write unique, inspired music? And my advice for that is to trust your gut and write whatever you want to write. Don't follow trends. Don't do something because you think that that's cool and everyone likes that sort of thing at the moment. What you want to do is just write whatever comes out. That's kind of the best way and the best advice that I can give you. So thank you for watching Fact Files number 3. If you want to ask a question to me, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Obviously, we'll be getting gear demos. You'll be getting my opinions on everything that I hate. The Fact Files, if you ask me a question, and a bunch more stuff, covers, everything, you name it. I love you. See you later.